After 55 seconds of the very first round, by way of guillotine choke, Brett the Bantamweight.
For your winner by split decision, and now the CWFC Bantamweight Champion of the World, Brett the Pikey Johns. For your winner by split decision, and still undefeated, Brett the Pikey Johns. Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes officially. 30 seconds, round number one, submission by calf slicer. We have your winner. He is still undefeated, Brett the Pikey Johns.
For as long as he can remember, Brett Johns has been involved in martial arts, beginning with Judo at the age of 4 years old. Brett would eventually move on to MMA and currently holds a 16-2 record. Brett has won 2 world championships in Titan FC and Cage Warriors. Brett is now 4-2 in the UFC and is looking to break into the rankings once again to claim the Bantamweight Championship. Brett Johns turned professional in MMA in June of 2012, facing Ben Wood in Pain Pit Fight Nights. The debut would be short, as halfway through the first round, Brett would sink in a rear naked choke which would stop the fight. Brett would go 3-0, joining the Cage Warriors roster next. At Cage Warriors 49, Brett Johns would face Sam Gilbert in his 4th fight of 2012. The fight would be a disciplined effort from Brett, and he won by unanimous decision, with the judge scoring it 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28. Brett would now go on to fight 2 more times outside of Cage Warriors and move down to bantamweight. At 6-0, Brett would train MMA full-time, training 3 times a day for his upcoming fight against James McAllister at Cage Warriors 54. The first round was controlled by the Pikey. The second round was largely the same. The fight was taken to the ground, and Brett unleashed a load of ground and pound, which would be the end of the fight. Brett would now fight at Cage Warriors 59 in a one-night tournament for the vacant Cage Warriors Bantamweight World Championship. Brett would go into the tournament as the dark horse. In the first round of the tournament, Brett would win by unanimous decision against the Swedish David Hagstrom. Brett would now face the tough Jordan Desborough, just hours after his previous fight. The fight would be close, and the scorecards reflected this. The judges scored the fight 48-47, 48-47, and 47-48 in favour of Brett. At 9-0, Brett Johns became the Cage Warriors Bantamweight World Champion. Brett Johns would go on to defend his Cage Warriors World title in April of 2014. However, complication with his weight cut meant that Johns had to vacate his title. The fight still happened, however, and Brett once again was able to grab another unanimous decision victory. This would be Brett's last fight under the Cage Warriors banner. Brett would next fight at Titan FC for the vacant World Championship. Brett would take a leap in competition, facing UFC veteran Valel Watson. During the second round, Brett was able to sink in a rear naked choke to win another World Championship belt. Brett would be booked to defend his title at Titan FC 34. However, 5 weeks out from the fight, Brett would be caught in a heel hook in training, which blew out his knee. He ploughed on, and 24 hours away from the weight cut, caught a bug. Brett missed weight but went on to win the fight by split decision, the scorecards being 48-47, 47-48, 49-46 in favour of Brett. The win guaranteed him a fight for the title again. However, this wouldn't be the case, as Brett would be signed to the UFC in 2016. Brett Johns' first fight under the UFC banner would be against the Korean Kwan Ho Kwak. Brett would control the fight and win in his UFC debut by unanimous decision. Brett would add to his record again against Albert Morales, once again controlling the fight and winning by unanimous decision. At the Ultimate Fighter 26 finale, Brett would go up against a former UFC title challenger, Joe Soto. This would be another step up in competition for Brett, but he didn't crack under the pressure. Brett instantly put Soto on the back foot and hit him with a 5-punch combo which forced Soto to shoot. Brett would set up a calf slicer and roll to his back. Soto quickly tapped after this. On the biggest stage of Brett's career at the time, he would secure the second ever calf slicer in UFC history against a former title challenger. This fight would put Brett on the UFC bantamweight rankings, where he was sat at number 14. Brett's next fight would be against the New Yorker Aljamain Sterling, who at the time was ranked number 8. The rounds were close, but all judges scored the fight 30-27 in favour of Sterling. This would be Brett's first loss in MMA. Brett would go back into the action just 4 months later at UFC 229 against the Brazilian Pedro Munoz. Munoz controlled the fight and won by unanimous decision, but in this fight Brett displayed his undying heart. Brett would take time out after the skid, where he said he was walking around at 170 pounds full of alcohol, and even considered calling it a day with the sport. However, he said his brother Ashley saved his career. Brett bounced back at UFC Raleigh, where he beat Tony Gravelli in the third round by rear naked choke, in a fight of the night effort from the Pikey and Tony Gravelli. The fight is currently ranked the 5th best fight of the year on Topology. Brett Johns is now back in the winning column and training with some of the best prospects in the UK, such as Aiden James, Jack Shaw and Oban Elliott. Brett has the potential to break back into the UFC bantamweight rankings and capture the UFC gold.